If you're running Facebook ads and you've hit a wall with your results, your CPA won't come down and your ROAS is stuck where it is. Maybe you have been through 3, 4, 5 new creative batches trying to fix the issue. I'm going to show you how you solve that in this video. Because the reason why you're stuck almost certainly isn't because of your creatives. It's the fact that roughly 3% of your market is ready to buy today. Every ad that you're making points at your product page with perhaps an inefficient, cold-friendly offer. This page is only targeting the 3%. So the problem that you have is not just a creative problem. It's a ceiling that you have built for yourself because your funnel is not built for scale. In this video, I'm going to take you through the entire system that we use to scale to the 97% of the market. There's 4 parts to this system, and I'm going to show you the exact order that you build them in. So this is the exact system that I'm going to go through in this video. And it obviously starts with just confirming that this system works. So these are some of the clients that we've been working with. Here's another client that we scaled to 1.8 million NOK or 164k euros in sales. We did that in just 2 months from approximately 25,000 euros in sales per month. And after that, their stock just completely collapsed. You can also see here we generated 113,000 euros in net profit, and the vast majority of it came obviously from June. And then here there's another case that we scale from low 20,000 euros per month to more than 150,000 euros per month, which was this one's here. Before I dive into the dev spiral, my name is Emil and I'm the founder of PROFIDA, which is a performance marketing agency where we help brands scale to 7 figures a year through creative strategy, content management, and paid ads. And if you want to know if we're a fit to help your brand scale, then there is a link in the bottom of this video. The dev spiral of Facebook ads, and I think this is so important for so many of you to understand, is that it's so easy to look at your Facebook ads and see, okay, are they converting or not? You assume that if they're not converting, then you have a creative problem. Then you start briefing the next batch. You test it, you launch it inside the ad account, and most of this content also fails. It's coming in at the usual benchmarks that you're always seeing. You conclude again that you need more volume and you need better hooks. You need to be testing more. If you have a consistent flow or a semi-consistent flow of content and you also have a decent amount of ads live inside your ad account, this may not be the reason why you are stuck right now. So what I want to go through in this video is the simplified process of research, offer positioning, pre-landers, and creatives, because the weight of these 3 here are so drastically different from one another. The most leverage that you have in your business comes from the offer. Then it comes from the pre-landers, and lastly, the creatives. I want to go through this process with you today, and very, very quickly. Our process is tailored towards mapping out 3 to 5 personas, then analyzing competitors, their funnel and their offers, then studying one's unit economics and building that cold-friendly offer that you can scale with, then building the first pre-landers, 1 per persona, so that you're hyper-specific in speaking to one persona with 1 pre-lander, so that that person really feels like they're being spoken directly to. Lastly, that is when you build out the concepts for it. So you build out 3 or 4 or 5 concepts per persona, each targeting a unique angle. You turn the best performance into AI videos, and then you create the next batch of statics to test new concepts, new personas, new angles with. And that's the cycle that you want to use in order to scale. It obviously first starts with research, and I'm not going to bore you too much with this right here because I understand that this is not the sexy part of it, but it is what sets the foundation for everything that you do downstream. The way that we like to do it is we map out the personas like this, where we're pointing out who this person is, what they're struggling with, what they may have tried before, their mindset, the strategic goal for how we're going to move this person, the strategic method for how we're going to do it, how we're going to communicate to them, our focus areas, buying triggers, and messaging that we must avoid. All of this is just listed in bullets. Then we have the angles. So we also outmap angles per persona in a Google Sheet like this. And then as we are testing these angles and we're testing the personas, that's when we're going to start to have data around what is it that are converting the best, what angles should we go ahead and double down on, etc., etc. The point of this is not to come up with, say, 50 unique angles, because you can definitely do that with AI. The point of this is that you come up deliberately with 3 to 5 personas that all has 5 to 10 angles per persona, because then you have a lot of ammunition in your marketing to go ahead and fire with and go ahead and try and scale with. And then the third thing that you want to do is you want to start analyzing your competitors. You want to figure out how are they positioning themselves differently to how you're doing it. How are they, pricing themselves? Are they cheaper? Are they more expensive? Do they have bundles? How are they positioning their offer that they're trying to scale their cold traffic with? What are their shipping and return policies? Do they have any guarantees and risk reversals? What you're looking at here is if they are positioning their offer differently with more perceived value than you're currently doing. You take this research and you then apply it into the offer positioning. I want to speak a little bit first about the AI models and how to efficiently use them, because a lot of brands, they're using either ChatGPT or Claude to do the research. I wouldn't do that. I would use Perplexity. That's what we're using to go ahead and research our personas, markets, ICPs, competitors, all of this, because it's really, really good at scraping Reddit forums, Quora threads, Facebook comments, all of this stuff, articles that have been published around the problem that people are experiencing that your product is solving. It's really, really good for that, and coming up with all of the sources, linking to the sources so that you as a marketer can also go ahead and read from some of these sources yourself and really build that foundational understanding of who it is that you're trying to communicate to, what their pains and desires are, and what they're experiencing. Once you have this, it's going to spit out, let's say, 50 or 100 pages long documents for you, depending on what it is that you're after, right? These long documents you can't really use for anything because they become so complex. So what you want to do is you want to take Claude and you want to use Claude to really aggregate all of this data to make it really concise and just boil it down to 1 or 2 pages per persona with angles that are no longer than, just a couple of sentences. It becomes way easier to grasp all of this data that you have available because of AI. It becomes easier for you to also go ahead and turn this into concepts into your marketing. That's how we would go ahead and use the different AIs. Secondly is the offer positioning. This is extremely important to understand when you're trying to scale with Facebook ads, is that the most leverage that you have when you're trying to scale is coming from your offer. The perceived value a new visitor gets from when they are trying to understand your offer, like what is the perceived value of the offer? Is it so good that they feel stupid for saying no? This can only come when you understand your unit economics. Understanding your unit economics is like you boiling down everything for cost of delivery. Like what does it cost for you to fulfill an order? What's your contribution margin? What is going to be your targets based on the cost of delivery? Depending on the product that you're selling, obviously, if you're selling some sort of consumable, a supplement, a skincare, a beauty brand, whatever it is, a consumable, you're going to have completely different targets than someone who's selling something to a person that may not come back again. The reason why this is so important is because you obviously want to understand exactly what you can afford to pay for a customer. The more aggressive you can be when we're talking about CPA and CAC, the more aggressive you can be, the better, of course. In order for you to become aggressive, you also need to understand how to position your offer and how you increase your AOV, because your AOV is going to dictate so much in how aggressive you can be in your marketing. So there are different ways for you to position your offer, be able to increase your AOV. If you have multiple products in your store and you have a lot of complementary products, then something like spend thresholds work extremely well, where the more that I buy, the more I save. So gift with purchase. If you have a bundle positioning where other products go really, really well with your main product, then if the person buys X, they get X for free. For example, this offer here, you can see that if you buy this vacuum sealer and these jars, you get this for free. This works really, really well because it adds more value to the bundle that you're selling. And then also could just be more of the same product. So 3, 6, and 12 of the same product that also can work. I would very much encourage these right here. Obviously, again, depending on the product, but this right here typically has higher perceived value. Why is this so important? I'm trying to break it down in this math equation here. So if you're selling a serum for, let's say, 60 euros as an AOV, and the cost to deliver this with free shipping and everything you're paying for the shipping is 22 euros, and your meta ad CPA is coming in at 30 euros, then your net profit is 8 euros. That could also be fine for this, but it's not really that high. What you want to do instead is you want to use that 60 euros as an anchor, and then you want to use different bundles or different packages beneath that to show that, hey, if you're buying or if you're paying more, if you're spending more on this product today, then you're going to get a better deal. For example, it could be the serum where you buy 2 and you get free. So you get 3 for 2. Cost to deliver this is not going to increase as much as your AOV is going to do. Your AOV is going to increase significantly more, and your cost to deliver is going to, not increase as much. So for this, it's going to be 38 example. And then your meta ad CPA is going to stay the same at 30 euros. Now that net profit on this particular order increased from 8 euros to 52 euros because you gave the option to buy more of the same but at a better deal. There's also this option here where it's more of a complete package, you can say, for the consumer to achieve their desired outcome. So for example, here you have the bundle option where I can get a serum plus the cream. This comes in at 89 euros, let's say, and the cost to deliver this is 29 euros with a CPA again at 30 euros. This is now 30 euros net profit. Again, way better to scale with this offer than with the serum that came in at just 8 euros net profit. Here, again, this is with spend thresholds where you have the serum plus the cream package. If they add another cream, then they start to get the additional 10% off. If they buy for 150 euros, then maybe they get 15% additional off. It just becomes a better and better deal, and there's this gamification for the customer to get the best deal possible. You can really see if you have a lot of complementary products or your store is starting to have 10, 15, 20 products, that these spend thresholds are going to significantly increase your AOV and thereby increase the net profit on that first order. The reason why it's so important to increase the net profit on the first order is because of the fact that loyalty to brands have never been lower. You want to maximize your net profit and your overall AOV on that first order instead of betting on the fact that consumers are going to come back to your store. I would highly recommend that you maximize that net profit on the first order. The obvious part is here that not all of your customers are going to magically spend 200 euros in your store just because you added some spend thresholds. The fact is that a percentage will. So let's say that 10% of your consumers or customers, they end up doing so, and they end up spending 200 euros in your store instead of your typical AOV of 60 euros. If 10% does that, that's going to be an AOV uplift of 23%. So from 60 to almost 74 euros. That means that in the front end, in your advertising, you can now afford a higher CPA, so you can scale more aggressively. Your ability to scale on Meta is directly tied to how good your AOV is, and obviously also your 60 and 90-day LTV is also playing into this. But I want to show you an example here where, say that you have a competitor C. Competitor C is occupying, let's say, 40 or 50% of the total addressable market. There are also some other competitors that are also occupying a decent chunk of the market, and they're running with a set offer. Like their offer is fairly dialed in, it's pretty good, but say that you come and you make an offer that are better than that of the competition, you are naturally going to eat some of the market share, and you're going to make it easier for yourself to scale. That is why it is so important to dial in the offer before we start looking at the pre-landers and the creatives. Once you have that, that's when you want to start unlocking scale by having the right pre-landers installed in your funnel. You want to make pre-landers instead of just sending all of the traffic from your paid ads onto your PDP. 3% of the market is in buying now mode, like they're in the buy now stage. The rest of the market is still gathering more information or is only starting to become problem aware. 60% of the market is not even aware of the fact that they have a problem yet. If you're making ads that are sending traffic onto your PDP with these people here, you're never going to scale. You're going to cap really fast in your scaling potential because you're not allowing these people to get more information to understand the problem that they have, the solutions that exist in the market, and why your product is the go-to solution for their problem. You need pre-landers that are gradually introducing the solution and the product, and once the problem has been identified and the person has become problem aware, that is when you can start to send people to your PDP. What this essentially looks like in practice is for all of those people that are problem aware and those ads that are targeting these people, also for the problem aware audience, you want to send them to advertorials where they can really be educated around the problem that they have, why the solution that they're looking for is the solution for them, why not other solutions are the solution for them. You are gradually moving these people through the levels of awareness that is needed in order for them to convert. It's only when they understand everything around the problem they have, the solutions that exist, and your product, that they will make a conversion. And that's why you need to own these stages of awareness in your funnel. When someone becomes solution aware, which a big portion of the market is naturally going to be, that's where you can send them to a listicle where you are framing your product as being the solution to their problem. And for all of the product aware and most aware audiences, that is where you can send them directly to your PDP. But just know that it's only 3 to 7% of the market that are going to be in these two stages. If you want to scale your brand, you need to occupy these market awareness stages right here and have a funnel strategy where you're not sending the traffic onto your PDP, but instead you're sending them onto pages where you own the traffic, you own the education that they get, and you deliberately design these pages so that they are obviously as beneficial to your product as possible. But you want to write these pages before you create any ads. The reason being is that it is so much easier to create a banging ad if you know the page that you're sending the traffic towards. You cannot just go ahead and create ads and not have a deliberate idea about where you're going to send this traffic to and what does this page even contain. You want to build a page per persona, because these personas, they're going to experience different issues, they're going to have different objections, and that is what you want to combat on these advertorials. They're going to be written in different ways depending on the personas that you're targeting. When you have these pages installed in your business, and instead of sending the traffic onto your PDP where they're going to bounce immediately because they're not ready to buy yet, you are feeding your funnel. You're feeding your funnel with a lot of people where you have deliberately try to convince them that your product is the solution. And within the next 7, 14, 21 days, 28 days, however long your customer journey typically is, these people are subconsciously aware of your brand's messaging, why your product is the solution, etc. And more people are starting to become product aware and most aware. And that is where in these two stages that you as a brand can convert them. But if you don't have a funnel that are targeting the vast majority of the market who are yet to become problem aware, that is when your funnel is going to cap out and your scaling potential is going to cap out really fast, because you're not capturing these people and communicating to them effectively. There is really no system that scales your new customer acquisition better than this, because you allow your prospect the necessary time to come to the natural conclusion of buying your product. You are owning every step of the funnel. Once you have done your research, you have fixed your offer, you have written your pre-landers, that is when you can start moving into the ads. And here, there is a very important concept for you to understand. You want to test all of your personas, all of your angles with static ads first, as they are the least product demanding assets that you can create. You can create far more static ads at a lower cost than you can with videos. Videos are typically way more production demanding, whereas static ads, you can do that really fast. So you use static ads to validate and debunk your concepts before you move into video creatives. Here, there's a very important concept to understand about scaling with meta ads. A concept is the foundation of a persona, an angle, and an offer. And the more of these ad concepts that you can test, the more and more audiences you're going to unlock inside your Facebook ads. When you have a low diversified ad account with not that many concepts live, that's when you're only going to resonate with a portion of the market. But the more you are testing new concepts, new audiences, new personas, angles, and whatnot, the more and more you're going to unlock. And that's what's going to unlock scale to your brand as well. So when you find these pockets of audiences with your concepts, that's going to allow you to scale further. How are you going to do this in a budget-friendly way? Do it with statics, as I said. Here you want to go ahead and you want to create multiple concepts per persona that you're testing, along with the pre-lander that you have made as well. You can just start with testing 3 different concepts per persona, all sending traffic to that specific advertorial or pre-lander that you made. Always make at least 3 variations per concept. You have variety in the hooks or the call outs in the ads and whatnot. You want to do that for each persona. Each persona obviously getting traffic for their specific advertorial. But here what you have now is essentially 27 varied ads that are live inside your ad account at one time, which is going to have you have that diversified content mix to begin with. Here's how that's going to look in practice. Say that you have a persona, this could be the IBS or bloating persona, and the angle is probiotics, people that have tried probiotics, having tried different advice, but you're fixing the wrong stage, or IBS is marked as the label, but it's not the cause. So this is like different angles that we're trying to target with these ads. So here you can see the headline up here, which is like the thing that are really calling out the audience, is saying kombucha, kimchi, kefir, still bloated. This is someone who has tried different things as like natural probiotics, but they're still feeling that problem. Here is another headline saying still bloated after months of probiotics. So really calling out the problem and also the solution that people have tried to solve their problem with. And this headline up here is saying probiotics cannot colonize a gut that has been adapted to being broken. All of this is sending traffic to a very specific landing page that are talking about this exact issue. There is this really, really strong connection between where people are clicking, or to what people have clicked on, to where they're landing. If there is a discrepancy here, or if there's a disconnection here, you're not going to convert your traffic nearly as well as if there is a very, very strong connection. Then another example here could be the acid reflux. This is another persona. An angle here could be that they did everything right, but they're still experiencing the issue, or that food is stuck in their stomach and that's why they're experiencing this issue, or the burning at 3 a.m. These are all angles that you can only get when you have studied your research and really studied your market and the experiences that they have. Here, for example, you can say, this ad here says, why you still wake up burning at 3 a.m. That's the headline of that ad. This ad says, stopped eating at 7, still burning at 3 a.m. So this is another problem that their audience is experiencing. And then here it's saying, your meal timing stopped clearing, or your stomach clearing speed, and stops the 3 a.m. burning. And again, just like the other ads, this is sending traffic onto a specific pre-lander that are talking about these issues here, which is like the midnight burning. Here we're talking about the burning inside this advertorial. When you have ads that are deliberately designed to pre-landers, you're going to notice that the conversion rate is going to be so significantly higher, because where the people are landing is specific to where they also clicked. The last concept of this video is that of video concepts. Once you have found your winning angles from your statics, that's when you want to turn them into videos, because videos generally can convert better than statics, but they are not nearly as efficient as to testing new angles, new personas with, because they are more product demand or production heavy. There is one thing here that are very, very important to understand, and that's the fact that there's diminishing returns in production value. Most of your results are going to come from messaging. If your messaging is good, then that's already 80% of the results. And your messaging is of course tied directly to the research that you have done in the first place. But 80% of your results are going to come from the messaging. Everything else around your messaging is production value. After a certain point, there's not really that much left to gain from having, better edited videos and whatnot. What you want to look at is you want to look at the market. You want to look at your competitors. You want to see what type of baseline quality are they dishing out. And then that becomes, the baseline for what you're also going to produce. And if your concepts, if your videos are meeting this baseline of quality, then that's good enough. You don't need more in order to scale. It's going to have diminishing returns. What you're going to do instead is you want to scale with this baseline and scale your volume around that. It is so much better to create 8 out of 10 concepts at a 4 to 5x scale than it is to create 10 or 9 out of 10 concepts that you can only produce one of every time you produce 4 or 5 of these. It is so much better. It's going to allow you to have such a varied content mix inside your ad account if you understand this concept and you're okay with this. Lastly, you really want to avoid the trap of spending a lot of money on concepts with low probability of succeeding because they were not tested, where you have gone straight into video creation before you had tested the concept with your static ads. I really hope that you can see that all of this is actually things that are happening outside of your ad account and not inside of it, because your ad account is just the amplifier of the content that you're delivering it. And by content, I mean everything from your offer to your pre-landers to your creatives. That is what's going to dictate your results inside your ad account. The better your offer, the more specific your pre-landers, and the more attention grabbing your creatives, the better your results are going to be inside the ad account. I really hope that you found this video to be valuable and that you found it to be what you needed in order to now go ahead and scale. And there's a lot of stuff that you can apply from this video. If you found it to be valuable, then click the like button and subscribe to my channel. And also go ahead and comment if you have any questions or there's anything that you'd like to discuss. I'm happy to discuss it there as well. If you want to apply to work with me or my agency, then you can also do that in the description of this video. But I hope you got value from this, and I'll hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.